Interview tonight, and we're just about to have a conversation with a gentleman who defied all odds. Growing up in a humble village, he decided this is not going to define who he's going to be. He made the list of the best male student once in his district, and this saw him being enrolled in one of the prestigious high schools in the country, Alliance High School, and he got an A-plane. It's one thing to join Alliance, it's another to come out of that place with an A-plane, something that helped him to achieve his dream of becoming a doctor. He's sitting here today as a doctor, but the reason we are having him is because of the role he has played to change lives in his community. And tonight you're talking about empowering communities. That is why we have him here to share in his experience, his journey, and what he's doing, and of course also just to help us better understand how we can better the lives of those who are vulnerable in our society going forward. I'm talking about none other than Dr. Emmanuel Ayodele, and he's sitting right next to me. Daktari, thank you so much for creating time for us tonight.
Thank you so much, and thank you for the invite.
Karibu sana. I don't feel like I did your intro justice, so I'll give you a chance. Should I add there, you served also as the medical superintendent at only 28 years.
Yes.
It's one thing to be a doctor, but it's another to rise through the ranks so fast, to hold such a position in that age. Tell us a bit more about yourself. There has to be a story behind who you are.
Yes, I'm Dr. Emmanuel Ayodele, as you said. I'm a medical doctor, a consultant family physician to be specific. I come from a very tiny small village called Budaywa. It's in Sabatia constituency, Vihiga County. That's where I was born, that's where I was raised, that's school. And I had an opportunity also to interact and go to Alliance High School, and later on joined Moore University, where I did my medical course. I came back to the community, where I've served my doctor life throughout. I've been in the community, serving specifically in Vihiga County. And after that, I'm also saved. I'm a saved Christian, a practicing Christian. And that's where I draw some of the principles that I used while I was growing up, and currently as I'm doing my work and as I continue doing the work. I also had an opportunity to be among the people who were chosen, the doctors, the 50 doctors who were chosen from this country in a program run by the national government, and we went to Cuba, and some lessons that I learned from there are the ones that I'm practicing as I serve the community currently.
All right, lessons from Cuba, we'll be talking about that in just a bit. But Daktari, someone with a heart for God and a heart for the people. Let's talk about the heart for the people. Community service, there has to be a story behind, your passion for serving your community. Where did it come from?
As I've clearly indicated, I was brought up in a rural constituency, a rural setup. And because of that, I interacted a lot during my childhood. And I came to understand some of the challenges that we actually grew up having. I was also orphaned at an early stage, and I think with that also it brought out my resilience to be able to work in the community. Secondly, when I went to high school, our school had a very simple motto, strong to serve. So we also got some inculcation of being a strong service person and serving the community. Thirdly, when I came back to the community, I've worked in the community and I've seen so many problems that people have. And the good thing is that all the problems these people have, they actually have solutions. You understand very well, we have issues mainly, for example, in the rural areas to do with health, to do with education, to do with the issues of people living with disabilities and the vulnerable groups, the women, the elderly. We also have a problem with basic infrastructure. We've got a problem with the issues of water supply. And at the tail end, we also have These are some of the things that we have taken time, we have looked at them, and we have drawn solutions on how we can be able to support the community, empower the people to be able to actually have a better community that can serve these current generations and generations to come.
All right, what you've touched on actually just reminds me on something I came up with while I was preparing for this program. It's a report that was released, say, around a year or so ago by the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics. It launched what they call the Comprehensive Poverty Report. And in the report, they were saying that 15.9 million out of 44.2 million Kenyans are poor. And if you look at this population, 53% of them are actually what they termed as multidimensionally poor. When I talk about multidimensionally poor, it's actually what you've touched on.
Yes.
That apart from, lacking the basic needs, the three basic needs, basic essentials such as water, sanitation, education, information, generally what one would have to have what we call a decent life. If you look at your village and the constituency you come from back in Vihiga County, is this the reality that people in the rural areas are facing? And what are some of the things that you think or you have done to change the narrative in that particular perspective?
Yes, I think the statistics you put across are actually at the least, we can say they're heartbreaking, because majority of the people actually live in the rural areas. And if you actually go down to the villages, I'm just not talking about my village back at home or in Sabatia alone, across the country, we have very hardworking men and women who wake up every single day to go and earn a living. But you find they are not able to do that because of the systems and the policies that are there. So currently, we are looking at a scenario whereby we can be able to engage the community directly. For example, if you come to the issue to do with health, we have the community healthcare workers. In the tier of health, we have the form level 1 at the level of the community. If you're able to empower them, we are giving them training, they're supposed to receive basic supplies and basic equipment to help them do what you call community diagnosis, which is very key in, for example, detection of these diseases early and controlling some of them. So if you empower those community healthcare workers, you'll be sorting out the issue of what? Health. Okay. If you look at the issue of the economy or the issue of the circulation of money at the community level, if you're able to empower the small-scale traders, your mambamboga, the border people, give them financing, give them training, bring up policies that will be able to reduce the bureaucracies that are there when it comes to doing business. They'll be able to thrive, get good returns on the investment, and the rural economy will be able to grow. So those, at the level of the helping the traders, we are trying to see ways in which we can support them, for example, in the table banking, so that they can have an extra coin to expand their businesses. If you come, for example, on infrastructure is not just talking about roads. We are talking about infrastructure, the issue to do with water. If you go to the village, for example, where I come from, it's not an arid area, but you'll find that people still go to the well to go and bring to pick water from there. If these people can have piped water that comes right into the village, they'll save on time, they'll also they'll have an extra coin to do something else instead of taking all that time to go to the wells and to be able to get water from there. In education, I'm happy in this country, education is relatively free, but these parents still have to pay a lot of money to be able to sustain the other levies that are normally charged in schools. So we know there are programs like their bursaries and grants that are normally there to support them, but it's not enough. So at the level of supporting education, we are trying to support the parents who are not able to pay school fees, the parents who require basic support in terms of, for example, facilitation of their children as they go to school, to support them, because these people don't have the income to be able to do that.
All right. As you sit here today, what is that one or two practical initiative that you have solely been behind that you would say has worked, or you'd say you're proud of, that has actually impacted the lives of your people in your community?
One area that we have really tried to be able to support and be able to support well, it is on the issue of the small-scale traders, because we want to improve the rural economy. We have engaged them in conversations. We have been able to bring on board quite a number of people and other organizations that are not non-governmental, to be able to listen to them, look at their views, and be able to support them, especially on the issue of financing and the issue of training them to be able to do their businesses well. Another area that we have really tried to support, and I think in collaboration with the students' organization from where I come from, it's called BOOKSA, we've been able to help those people who are living with disabilities, especially in education institutions. Just the other day, we met an institution called Chamakanga, where we have mentally challenged children, and you're able to support them with uniforms, with medication, and also to be able to support them with foodstuffs and all that, and just being able to facilitate what they're able to do. We also did the same at our school for the ones who have a hearing impairment called Chekombero, and this should be rolled out, and we are using partners to be able to support us in doing this. Lastly, we are looking at the issue of youth. And the issue of youth, we are trying to be able to have a conversation with the youth to tell them they are supposed to take their rightful role as leaders of the community. Because if you're able to take their role, they'll have the vision that the older people had and carry it forward. So that is an area we're also mentoring the youth in most of the sectors that they are able to work in.
All right. Yes. We're really, running out of time for this conversation. But then all this, one would ask, what next for Dr. Ayodi in 1 or 2 years? What is it that we are looking at? What will be different?
I think what we are trying to do currently, we actually want to create a conversation to bring good leadership in our in our society. I told you I had a chance to go to Cuba through the government program, and believe you me, in Cuba, almost everything that is supposed to be provided by government is absolutely free. Is that possible in Kenya? It's possible. It's possible if you get the right leaders, the right policies, and the right implementation framework. Because education is absolutely free up to the highest level, including PhD and further. Healthcare is free up to super specialized healthcare. We also have the issue of food. Actually, everybody is guaranteed a ration of food every single month, irrespective of their social status. So I think that is also one area that have come in, and we'll offer ourselves for leadership to be able to... What do you mean offer yourself for leadership? I think currently, this year is an election year, and people are also planning to choose their good leaders. And as a young person, we brought the conversation that the Constitution guarantees us a seat at the table, okay, the decision-making table, but at times you get the seat, you don't get a plate, and if you're lucky to get a plate, you don't get the food. So I offer myself for leadership to be able to serve the people of Sabatia in the coming general elections. All right. Yes. So if that happens, what are the 3 areas that you seek to prioritize? I'm prioritizing 3 areas. One, I'm prioritizing the issue of education, because we don't have factories in our area. We actually don't. So the only investment that you can bring in to guarantee a future for our children is to ensure that the education sector is working 100%. They'll be able to go to school well, build good schools, support them through the kitties that are available, including CTF, and bring in other partners to be able to assist them. 2, the issue of health. Coming from a health background, and having served at the county as the head of the county referral hospital, I know the challenges they face. So we are bringing in issues of social insurance, and I know the NHIF program to be able to support the people to get access to quality and affordable healthcare. The other area that we are coming in to support strongly is infrastructure. And infrastructure, I'm not only talking about roads. We are talking about roads plus issues to do with water and all that. And recently we even launched one of the biggest roads in the county together with the constituency leadership and the county leadership, 20 kilometers road. And I could see the excitement in the community when they knew that that road is going to be tarmac. So we are going to do a lot in terms of infrastructure together with the national government, as you collaborate also with the county, because they're also doing the issue of roads. All right. One question I must ask you before we finalize, because we've run out of time. Why politics? You have been serving your people already. Why politics? I think it is because at the end of the day, you have to be at the decision-making table. And I'm encouraging young people to do that. People will always be afraid of taking political lines. But, for example, as a member of parliament, you have good policies, you have to represent your people, and you also have to oversight over their funds. So we believe at this opportunity for us to have a good community development strategy, we should be able to be at a level where we can represent them, legislate good policies for them, and be able to oversight on the funds that they contribute as taxpayers. So the best way to change a society is to be a leader at the decision-making level. And in this country, we have levels, for example, the member of county assemblies, the members of the National Assembly, and even the county. So for us, we think the best can be done at the national level, and that is the National Assembly.
All right. I wish we could continue having this conversation, but unfortunately, that's all the time we had tonight. Dr. Emmanuel Ayodi Lusigi, he's a specialist family physician from Vihiga County, having talked to us about what he has done in terms of his, passion for community service and his plan for 2022, going for the Sabatia constituency member of parliament seat. All the best with that.
Thank you so much.
All right, we are going to be taking a very short break right now. When we come back, still more lined up ahead for you, including the latest in the world of sports. Don't go too far.